But just basically, let's just go ahead and get a first introduction. I know we already chatted a little bit
Yeah.
before the stream started, but just who you are basically.
Cool.
Where you from?
Um, yeah, so my name's Petey Mannion. Mannion is new. Just got married this past New Year's Eve. Um, Still getting used to that introduction. But I did my undergraduate at the University of Georgia,
Whoa, whoa.
graduated, yeah, go dogs, a degree in anthropology. And then after that, I moved to Boston with my fiance, dog, and cat. And started working at Boston College as their fitness coordinator. So I started as a graduate assistant, and I am lucky enough now to be full time. So I'm working overseeing the personal training and small group training programs, and then I also oversee the fitness attendants. And I'm working on completing my master's in sports administration. I'll wrap that up this summer, actually.
Cool,
So
cool, cool.
almost there.
So I know you've posted a lot of stuff with fitness, and I know you've
Mhm.
posted a lot of stuff in regards to, healthy lifestyles and training.
Mhm.
Um, what got you involved in all that?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, oh, actually, this goes way back. So my mom started working in a gym as the GM of the gym. Oh shoot, I was probably 8, something like that, and it was a place that my sister and I went after school, and we hung out there. And when I was old enough to work, like, I started working there at the front desk, and I was always into sports, always, always, always. And fitness just kind of came with that.
Right.
Um, it was something that was really good pair, and I was watching my mom do it, and the gym was really cool, and it seemed like something a different kind of career path, because I don't feel like I could sit at a desk all day or
Yeah, you're an
yeah,
active body.
yeah, I got to get up and move around. And helping other people move around the right way is just a passion of mine, and I kind of found a passion in it. And when the sports dropped off, because really what I wanted to do my whole entire life was be a professional athlete. And I tried it with soccer, and injury kind of stopped me in my tracks in high school there. And then tried it again with boxing a little bit later, and again was kind of stopped by injury. So wasn't meant to be.
So wait, wait,
And
wait. So you don't box anymore?
so I can't get hit in the face.
All
I
right, I'll keep that in mind.
right, yeah. So it is still my greatest love in the sports world. And I do still actively practice and train. And when I spar, I could take body shots and things like that. But sort of the end of my amateur boxing career, I took an uppercut,
Ooh.
which popped my jaw out, and essentially it sacrificed the integrity of the ligaments in my TMJ. So my jaw still kind of clicks around a little bit. I have some pain in the morning before I, start talking or eating or doing whatever throughout my day. And that's something that, when it first happened, doctors kind of said, I was like, hey, when can I get hit in the face again? And they're like, well, we don't recommend, but definitely when your jaw stops hurting, and it just has never really hit that point yet.
Yeah, it's never felt the
Um,
same. I
yeah, never felt the same. Never really felt good enough to take a shot on the chin for sure.
Right.
Um,
I have bad TMJ stuff, and I'm
mm,
pretty sure it affects a lot of my ear. Like
oh, I bet.
occasionally,
Yeah.
a lot of our viewers will probably see me doing this like little blow sound. Like you'll
Yeah.
see my face do that, but I'm trying to pop my ear because my jaw is misaligned with my eustachian
Mm,
tubes. It's just a pain in the ass, really much.
yeah. Yeah. That's not ideal.
Yeah.
Definitely feel that.
I used to fight as well, but not box. I never did hand to hand combat. I did more
Okay.
grappling.
Nice. Yeah.
Did you have any sort of routine when you were boxing? Like before like a startup fight? Like would you get into
Oh,
like how would you get in the zone before a
yeah.
competition?
I really like listening to the Rolling Stones because I don't think it's a good idea to step into the ring angry. I think that boxing is a high speed chess match. So it takes a lot of strategy. Once you figure out how to breathe, granted, like my first 4 fights, you don't know how to breathe, and you feel like you were underwater the whole time, and you're
Right.
not really sure what happened. But when I started to figure out how to be able to breathe through fighting, and then I started to be able to see things, and then I started to be able to think, it really is a chess match. You're really trying to think about not the next punch you're going to throw, but the fourth punch that you're going to throw. Like, how are my first 3 punches going to set up an opening so that I can take advantage of that on my fourth punch?
You know,
Um,
one of the challenging aspects that I thought was difficult when I was actually practicing hand to hand combat was not blinking. Like,
Yeah.
I think people take
Yeah.
that aspect for granted a lot.
Oh yeah.
When you're fighting, most
Yeah.
people just think that you're just gonna haul ass and you're
Right.
just gonna go in swinging. But when a
Right.
punch comes at you, you're like your initial reaction is to
Oh yeah.
flinch or close your eyes,
Yep.
dodge or do something.
Yeah.
I
And that
never
comes
really.
back so fast. If you don't, I remember especially when I was like in the peak of being competitive, I would I'd work defense on a Friday, take the weekend off, come back on Monday, and like be blinky in the ring again. Like it comes back so fast because your body's like, I don't want this. Nobody's
Yeah.
like me. So that's like your natural tendency. So you're kind of fighting that the whole time. You're forcing your body to do the fight instead of flight thing. And in most situations in the boxing ring, your body does not naturally want to fight.
That, I kid you not, was the most challenging aspect.
Oh yeah.
I remember fighting like a friend of mine. He's actually in the chat right now. Kayla, if you remember
Nice.
this. Hey guys, everybody tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. This is Petey. Met her at UGA. We went to college together. Had a history class actually.
Yes.
It's a little
Yes.
off topic, but
Yeah.
I fought my friend Kayla. And we just thought, hey man, you just want to practice boxing? We're like, sure, why not? So we put on boxing gloves, and man, it was the stupidest thing we ever done. No professional supervision,
Oh,
nothing,
man.
no practice, no training, no nothing. One of us ended up with a black eye. I'm not gonna name
Yep.
who, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So, so, but
Perfect.
it was fun. Like definitely
Oh.
fighting like in those situations were fun.
Mhm.
Have you ever?
I mean, it's all fun, and I recognize how crazy that sounds. And I will also go ahead and say I do believe that you have to have a certain amount of crazy to go far in boxing.
Yeah.
And I recognize the crazy in myself. You know, I was a soccer goalkeeper and then a boxer, so it was kind of always there.
Right.
Definitely a little bit of a nut, and that's what you need to step in the ring and get hit in the face. And I have people ask me occasionally, like, "Do you like getting hit in the face?" And I'm like, "No, nobody likes that." But but landing a shot on another person is such a euphoric, like successful feeling that it kind of overrides the whole getting punched bit.
Yeah, grappling and submitting people, getting them to tap
Yeah.
out in unusual ways. I think that's the most satisfying, especially when the person's bigger than you. And you're like,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
obviously know you're stronger than me, but
Right.
I have better technique. I know
Yep.
what I'm doing.
Yep.
So I can just kind of finesse them into submitting. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
really
jujitsu's
nice.
made for the smaller man. So
Yeah.
good to go. I did a little bit of
Oof.
jujitsu.
I'm a
That's
smaller
not what
man.
I meant. That's not what I meant. That's not
Oh,
what
I'm
I
kidding.
meant.
I'm kidding.
But and that's something
Hey,
that
what's
I
up,
used because I
Clinic?
was smaller than everybody like I practiced with, and I did jujitsu for a little while. My problem with jujitsu is my ego will not let me tap, and like that's a problem. Like I
Yeah.
I just had no recognition. The one competition that I did really messed up my elbow because I got put in an arm bar, and I was like, whatever, like I'm just gonna sit here, and got the elbow cranked pretty bad.
My nickname when I was taking classes was Scorpion because of how like much
Nice.
I would go. Like I would
Yeah.
let my limbs go and people wouldn't tap me out. And
Yeah.
it was more of a like what you were saying, like an ego thing. It's probably the
Yeah.
stupidest thing. I was like 16 at the time.
Right.
I didn't want to submit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I look back on it and I'm like, that's just a great way to mess up your elbow for all of
Oh,
time.
for
But
sure.
in the moment, I'm like, nope, not gonna tap, not gonna tap. You can't beat me. Like,
Have you ever whooped someone's ass? Like not like I'm talking street fight. Like have you ever just used your boxing skills to whoop someone's ass?
not outside of the ring. There is one story I do like to think about sometimes because it makes me chuckle. Occasionally there would be a guy that would come in the gym and they'd walk in, no experience whatsoever, and be like, I'm your next champion. And the competitive team would be like, yeah, okay. And a lot of the times they would get put in the ring with me first. And occasionally I'd get a dude that would be a little bit nervous to hit me because I'm a girl and all this stuff. And then I'd basically be like, look, dude, I signed up for this. I've got gloves on. I'm standing in front of you. Let's roll. But there was one guy that just refused to do it. He was like, I'm not going to hit you. you're a girl. I'm not doing this. And that probably makes me more mad than anything else. Like, I've signed up for this. I've volunteered for this. Like,
Hit
you're not making
me!
me better. Right. You're not making me better by not hitting me. And that was one time where, you know, my coach was kind of like, yeah, you can hit her. And he was like, no, I'm not doing it. And my coach kind of gave me a little nod, and I was like, okay, cool. And just kind of ran a clinic on this dude. And it was, you know, it was a valuable lesson for him because finally he put his hands up and started hitting back. And I was like, dude, you can't look at me as a female in the ring if we're in a sparring situation. You got to look at me as another athlete in the ring.
Right.
You have to give me the respect that any other athlete earns when they step into that ring. And if I'm going to respect you enough to put myself at harm by fighting somebody with no experience, because that is putting myself at harm.
Right.
When they get in there and throw wild haymakers and, you know, they're a little bit heavier than me and things like that, like something could go wrong very quickly. So if I'm going to give them enough respect to be able to hop into the ring with them, they need to be able to do the same thing for me.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's kind of my.
Well, that kind of
like,
leads me into our next, I guess, my next question. But before I ask that, one of our viewers, Jordan, asked, PD, have you seen the movie Fighting with Family? It's such a great movie. Obviously, it's not the same fighting style, though.
I've not seen Fighting with Family. I wonder what fighting style it is.
And Clinic, thank you for the shout out, bud. I really appreciate you dropping by. Oh, you know what? I didn't even give you the link for the chat so you could see everybody. I should